Jeffrey Springs, Pete Fairbanks, any interest in those two relievers on the market? Plus, we have some Giving Tuesday excitement of who's going to be giving out the best deal and offers for Juan Soto and for other names on the market. And our buddy, #FreeHerb. We've got Herb Lawrence on the show with us talking some White Sox, Phillies deals, all coming up today on PHLY Phillies. We've got some new names on the market to keep an eye on and which will make the most sense for the Phillies. Welcome to PHLY Phillies podcast. Tyler Zulli, Jamie Lynch, myself, Renee Washington, with a lot to get into on this Tuesday, this Giving Tuesday. On the heels of Cyber Monday, hopefully you guys have already been able to take advantage of our Cyber Monday deal here at PHLY. You still have time if you didn't get a chance to do it yesterday because the deadline is 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern time tonight to sign up with our lowest price ever, $36 to be a diehard member and get access to all of our content, the fantastic articles, everything we have here at PHLY. Plus, you can also give it as a gift. So if you aren't sure how to do that yourself, you can head over to allphly.com. You can scan the QR code on your screen. You've got options here. Options. There are also plenty of options on the market for the Phillies. We've got some new names out there, a Pete Fairbanks, a Jeffrey Springs. We also are going to have our buddy Herb Lawrence. For all of you guys, #FreeHerb, he's back. We'll be getting into which deals make most sense for the Phillies and the White Sox around Garrett Crochet, Luis Robert Jr., Alec Bohm, Justin Crawford, other names, and some other ridiculousness going on around the league of golden at-bats. If we have time, Phillies trivia. So let's jump right into it because
random
time is
real
ticking.
estate rumors.
Real estate rumors we've even got today. We're bringing you all the things, So first things first, we did get the report from John Morosi was sharing that Jeffrey Springs and Pete Fairbanks are both receiving trade interest ahead of the winter meetings. As we know, winter meetings kick off next week. And so you've got Rays left-handed pitcher Jeffrey Springs and right-handed pitcher Pete Fairbanks, and the two of them, interesting names to keep an eye on. I know in the chat, K-Red, Maddie, Steven, Chris, Spiral Out. Yes, you got the #FreeHerb going, but here's some things you need to know about Jeffrey Springs and Pete Fairbanks. So 30-year-old Fairbanks has been one of the top or better relievers, as some can say. He's a 6-year veteran of the Rangers and the Rays. He's saved 25 games in 2023 and 23 games in 2024. He's also appeared in 46 games or more in each of the last seasons. And for Fairbanks, he has an overall career 3.29 ERA. On the other side, for Springs, he is 32 years old. He's under contract through 2026, so it'll be a little bit tougher deal-wise, financially-wise. But he is someone that also has, he signed a 4-year, $31 million extension back in January of 2023. And he has a 3.27 ERA, a 1.36 whip, and 37 strikeouts over 33 innings across 7 starts last season, coming off of Tommy John surgery. So the question of the hour is, would either of these guys make sense to be the closer or a high leverage reliever for the Phillies, given their numbers, what we've seen from them, their career trajectory? Would you be interested in one or both of these guys, Jamie and Tyler? We'll get to you too, of course.
Pete Fairbanks interests me some. He's a guy with a, upper 90th percentile fastball. I think it's like 94th percentile fastball. Throws some gas, has a little bit of a history of closing games here. Did have some points last year where he was struggling along with the Rays. I remember watching a dejected Pete Fairbanks stand at the locker, just like hand through the hair, like, we'll figure it out. We're a good club. And it was just kind of one of those seasons from hell for the Rays. So he would interest me some for sure. Jeffrey Springs doesn't really interest me a ton. He's a situational lefty. If he's cheap enough, sure, you always need, one or two of those guys in the bullpen in some capacity. But of the two, Pete Fairbanks interests me a lot more. nothing Springs does is really upper level, or even like middle of the pack. He's just kind of like a dime a dozen type of guy. But Pete Fairbanks, I have some interest in.
Yeah, and as you talk about some other numbers, before getting injured in 2023, Springs, had a .56 ERA in 3 appearances in 2023 before having to undergo Tommy John surgery. Doesn't feel like he ever fully got back this season from it. Of course, didn't have that many games to really showcase anything after returning. So he is someone, and as mentioned, with that 4-year, $31 million extension, he is owed $10.5 million in 2025 and 2026. On the other side, financially for Fairbanks, he is a guy that is under contract for the 2025 season. He also had an extension in 2023 for 3 years and $12 million. And as you mentioned, I think when you look at the numbers that he's posted, does seem a little bit more encouraging. For Fairbanks, he has had, as I mentioned, that 3.57 ERA, 23 saves, and a career low 8.7 Ks per 9 across 46 appearances in 2024. So for someone like Fairbanks, a little bit more interesting of an option between the two. Tyler, what would your thoughts be? One, none. Where do you fit in the Fairbanks Springs pursuit?
So I think with Springs specifically, he's a guy that I thought has had a nice career. Doesn't throw particularly hard. He was only in the 90-91 range prior to the injury. Has only pitched a handful of innings each of the last 2 years. I think he's made about 10 appearances in the last 2 seasons. 2022, he was primarily a starter. He threw 135 innings at a 2.4 ERA. Strikeout numbers were good. The whip is excellent. He gets a lot of chase. The last time he had a full season, he was in the 96th percentile in chase rate. He was in the 76th percentile in whiff, which is pretty significant considering the fact that he doesn't throw particularly hard. And anytime you have a lefty who's kind of crafty like that, it's always good to have an additional guy like that in your bullpen. The issue becomes his contract is significant, I think, beginning next season. I believe you pointed out, Renee, and I'll double check the numbers just to clarify that, but I think it's like $10 million next year. Yeah, for Springs.
$10.5 million.
Yeah, it's $10.5 million for two in the next 2 years, and then a club option for 15, which I would assume no team, no matter how much they like Springs, unless he's a starter, they would pick up. So here's the thing. I think Springs would have aspirations of starting, and I think a lot of teams would have aspirations of putting him in middle and high leverage relief situations, especially with the fact that he's only thrown 10 innings or 10 appearances, excuse me, over the last 2 seasons. I like him. I don't love his contract. Fairbanks is a guy who his stuff is there. Jamie pointed out that, some struggles last year. The chase rate fell pretty significantly. The whiff rate fell pretty significantly. I mean, it's a guy who 2 years ago, over 24 appearances, posted a 1.1 ERA and a .6 whip. He had 68 strikeouts over 45 innings pitched in 23. That dipped to 44 in 45 innings pitched in 24. I'm not sure if maybe he's trending downward at this point. The velo's still there. If you're talking about the 1 year thing, $3.6 million for a middle to high leverage reliever is a very doable number. Yeah. There's a $7 million club option in 2026, which obviously kind of gives you a little bit of flexibility to see how you feel about the guy. To me, I would think that Fairbanks would give you a better return on monetary investment than Springs does, considering the fact that he hasn't pitched much in the last 2 years. Quite frankly, I don't particularly want either of these guys. But if I were to choose, it would probably be Fairbanks.
I was going to say, if I had to choose between the two of them, given the Tommy John surgery and just the numbers overall, Fairbanks seems like the better option between the two, also financially. But ultimately, if I really had to choose, there are some other high leverage relievers that I absolutely would want the Phillies to go after.
Have shown a good ability of developing those guys with gas.
They do. Yeah, so, and that's the thing. Like,
I have a little bit of confidence that they could regain Fairbanks's, form.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I absolutely do believe in the staff being able to bring out the best of him. But there are also some other names on the market that I think intrigue me a little bit more. We've talked about like a Ryan Helsley, a Devin Williams, some other Tanner Scott, obviously the flashier, bigger name relievers that are out there. So something to keep an eye on, though, because obviously we just heard from Morosi that those two are on the trade market. Tampa Bay is in a position where they're not thrilled with where they finished last season or in recent years in general, and are looking to make some moves themselves to be more aggressive. I will say it's nice to hear another team in the mix, because we've been getting kind of the same 5 and 6 teams that have been rumored to be quote unquote aggressive and make trades. But before we get into some other excitement, I want to give a shout out to Casper the Ghost, who said you are finally a diehard.
Saw that.
What's up? You said you took a long lunch and you're now able to watch the show for the first time in a while. We appreciate you being here and taking time.
I think I just saw him join the Discord.
Yeah, love that for you. I love that.
Welcome
love
to
that.
the Nut House.
It's crazy here. And then also, you guys are already jumping ahead talking some White Sox trades. We'll get there. Pump your brakes.
Free Herb.
Free Herb. Hashtag Free Herb. Some other excitement that did happen for the Phillies. We didn't have a chance to get into it yesterday because it was another busy day for us, talking a lot of things. We didn't have a chance to talk about Bryce Harper. Couple things around Bryce Harper. One, on the exciting side, is he had a chance to compete in the $100,000 home run derby with some other content creators, TikTok stars, Big Justice. He had a viral moment. Not every day that you get to see these types of moments where they bring together athletes and social media influencers and the Tom Brady's, Noah Lyles, Bryce Harper's, then you bring in some other
Ronaldo. Did I say, was he a part of it too?
I thought, yeah.
I didn't
actually watch it.
All right, so here's my
Full
take,
disclosure.
having not really read much up on it or watched it at all. If Bryce Harper's losing to Big Justice in a home run contest, trade him right now.
No. That's
my take.
Bring that boom, baby.
Ship him out of here. If he can't beat Big Justice in a home run contest, get him out of here. Didn't he lose? I think Big Justice won.
I don't know, to be honest.
You mean you didn't spend like 24 hours breaking this down?
No. I didn't actually watch this.
I saw a clip of Big Justice. He had like the softball fence like beyond the dirt, so it wasn't a real home run.
Yeah, whatever.
But trade Bryce if he's losing.
But
to
it
Big
was
Justice.
on the big Mr. Beast YouTube channel.
Let's hear your best boom. Have you ever won?
I was gonna try to do it. Did you see my face? I was like, so.
You were ready. I'm not gonna do it.
Oh, if you're not gonna do it, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, you don't have to do it. I'm just kidding.
Just kidding. But then also, I know Scott Lauber of the Philadelphia Inquirer brought up an interesting question about Bryce Harper. Possibly, should you consider moving him back to the outfield, because there are some good first basemen on the market? And I know we've talked a lot about the Phillies needing to increase their offensive production from their outfielders. And one of the solutions that, as Scott Lauber brought up, and I kind of was like, it's not a bad idea to at least think about it. If you move him to right field, you can either try to flip Nick Castellanos to left field, or some people are saying move on from Nick Castellanos altogether. You can have a platoon at center field with Brandon Marsh and Johan Rojas. Bryce Harper moves to right field, and now you bring in a first baseman. There are some first basemen on the market. I know we've talked about the Pete Alonsos and different names that are out there that are more options for first base than for outfield. So I don't know. It kind of got me. It was one of those things that make you go,
Yeah, I've thought about this. It's crossed my mind, but I just feel like that ship has sailed. Because if Bryce Harper was going to be open to it, it was probably last year to keep Reese on like the 1 year prove it deal.
That's
for
the other
cheap.
thing.
Like I feel like once he kind of more or less kicked Reese out of town, I feel like that ship has sailed. Like he is a first baseman now. And he came in second in Gold Glove. Like I don't know. I feel like this is his new challenge in life, and he wants to be the best first baseman in the National League. While yes, it would probably be the best situation for the team to get Bryce back in the outfield, I just don't believe it's going to happen.
I think it could simplify some of these outfield struggles of if you could bring in if you had to look talent-wise, you have more talent available at first base, so now you can put him in the outfield and know you're going to get, especially if you flip Nick Castellanos, you don't have to move on from him. If he can play left field and you have the two of them in outfield alone, that's solid, consistent offensive production from outfielders. But to your point, once Reese Hoskins, I actually wasn't even thinking about Reese. I was just going more off the fact that Bryce has made it very evident that he likes first base.
Yeah.
He wants to lock in there.
He likes it so much that he was like, hey, Reese, get out of town. See you later. Boom. It's my position now.
And then how do you also tell somebody you're going to be our everyday first baseman and then say, just kidding, back to right field you go. Like, you can't rip the rug out from under someone, promise them one thing, and then flip the script and move them somewhere else. So I actually think I like the idea of just keeping him at first base, but it did have me considering, I think in this offseason, I and many of us are agreeing of consider all the options.
You want Pete Alonso here?
Wouldn't that be something?
No, that'd be terrible.
Like the way that we trash and badmouth Pete Alonso to then have to cheer for him.
The Phillies PR has an ear to the
that.
railroad. They would be like, I don't think we can.
No, I don't think there's a world that you can then
survive.
Well, there's other first basemen out there, but he was the first that came to mind. It would be, I just feel like, kind of like I said before, changing too many things. Like you have to have some things that are consistent from 2024 into 2025. You can't go completely throwing everything out the window and changing too much. So, yeah, when Scott Lauber mentioned it, it got me thinking of the options.
I've been meaning to get Scott on, so we'll have to get Scott on and talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. But before we get into some other updates from around the league, let's take a quick pause and share with you some information about our friends here at PHLY. Let me tell you all about our friends at Empire Today, because you don't have to worry about the rug being ripped from under you with Empire Today. They bring you all the great flooring, and you're going to be aware of which great options you're getting. You're not going to have any surprises, and you don't have to worry about feeling overwhelmed with the process, because with Empire Today, you get the shop-at-home convenience, where they have their virtual floor designer, which allows you to snap a picture of your room and see how that new flooring, the hardwood, the carpet is going to look in your space. So when you get to the store, it's difficult sometimes to try to imagine, wait a minute, I like this color, but I don't know how it would look in my living room. How would this match my kitchen and my backsplash and my cabinets? How would this look in my bathroom? If you have any questions with Virtual Floor Designer, it answers them for you, because you can now snap a picture of the room and see it firsthand what it would look like. So there's convenience and just a great way for you to see how those new floors look in any space. Plus, with Empire Today, they'll help you find the right product for your needs with quick and professional installation, as well as a price match guarantee. You don't have to break the bank to get great flooring. With Empire Today, you get great prices, great quality, and they're just going to provide you with what works best for your home and for your budget. So it's the best place to get new flooring, because they have the quality, the service, the speed, and they've got the great products. Most importantly, those great products. So if you want to take advantage of shopping at Empire Today with the convenience that they have, they pride themselves on the support and the convenience, and also servicing for their own warranties, so that if an issue does come up, they service all their warranties themselves. You don't have to go tracking down a manufacturer or anything like that. And today, you get an opportunity to schedule a free in-home estimate when you reach out to Empire Today. All listeners can also receive $350 off as a discount when you use promo code PHLY. There are some restrictions that do apply, but head on over to empiretoday.com/PHLY for more details.
And let me tell you about Glatt Hair Restoration, because bald is now optional thanks to our friend Dr. Glatt. The Glatt Hair Restoration is now a part of the Morgenstern Medical Center, and Glatt Hair Restoration is under the direction of renowned plastic surgeon Dr. Ken Morgenstern. Dr. Glatt and Dr. Morgenstern share a remarkable bond of many years of colleagues and friendship, from collaborating on critical research to working together in the operating room. And it's the same peerless approach to care, same expert team, same unmatched Glatt system. State-of-the-art location, same stellar results. Just look at Johnny Mark's hair in the morning. You'll see that it works. Under the direction of Dr. Morgenstern, each member is trained. They bring over 30 years of industry experience, and hair restoration is all they do. So they have a ton of different options, from laser light therapy to non-invasive TED treatments to vitamin supplementation, topical oral medication, PRP, stem cell research, and hair restoration surgery. They do it all. It's not just about restoration, it's about innovation. Their breakthrough treatments really do dramatically change lives. Change your hair, change your life. Bald is now optional, and if you want to improve how you look and feel about yourself, Glatt Hair has the right treatment for you. Regain your confidence. Visit glatthairmctr.com or call 610-980-4000 to get started.
All right, so we've got some other updates going on. Really quickly, shout out to Zach Wheeler for his comment on his 4th place Cy Young voting. Appreciate you, Zach. He was very, very calm, cool, and collected. Very mature response by him. I know we didn't have a chance to talk about it yesterday, but just want to give him his flowers, because he could have easily, and it would have been understandably so, got irrational and got carried away with like calling out the guy that gave him the fourth place vote,
David
but
Brandt
handled
from
it
the
well.
AP with the ridiculous fourth place vote for Zach Wheeler. And Zach Wheeler commented on a post the other day with the Cy Young finishing, and he commented, "Great season all around" in the comment section, which is what Brandt said about Wheeler's fourth place vote. Great season all around. Very, very classy troll job there by Mr. Wheeler. Well executed. A+.
We like that.
No notes.
No notes, off the cuff. And then I love the fact that we're getting people in the chat that are here for Herb, that are already tuned in. Before we bring on our buddy Herb to talk about all things White Sox Phillies options, the latest around Mr. Juan Soto. We've got some updates for you because every day we're giving you Juan Soto updates, regardless if the Phillies are involved or not. Wherever he goes across Major League Baseball, especially if it's to the Mets, does impact the Phillies. So we got to pay attention, guys, to where he is going. So here are some of the latest things that we've heard from Juan Soto. There is, quote, widespread belief that the Blue Jays are going to be the highest bidder in the Juan Soto sweepstakes. That came out from Ben Nicholson-Smith, who wrote about it, but also Andy Martino, who works with SNY. Some other reporters came out saying the same thing, that apparently there's some expectations that Toronto is going to come in with the highest offer. Now, as we know, realistically, it's not just about the money, believe it or not. There are some other factors that play into where big names like to go. They don't always just chase the bag. They chase the bag, and they want to go somewhere they can win, and they want to go somewhere that has the right culture and future expectations and goals and plans. So don't know if when it comes down to it, that large offer will be what sways his decision or not, because we have heard the Red Sox and the Mets is the two favorites for him, especially once the Big Papi got involved. And the Red Sox have been actively leaning on Ortiz to help sway Juan Soto to want to go to Boston. And it seems like Juan Soto's not the only Soto that is going to Boston, possibly. One is definitely going to Boston, but just not Juan.
Yeah.
Is it Juanita?
Natalia.
I'm just kidding. That'd be great if her name was Juanita.
Natali. Natalie? Natalie? You're the one with the Spanish.
Let's go with Natalie.
Yeah,
Natalie.
I'm not the pronunciation guy, if you're familiar with the show.
Or it could literally just be Natalie.
Yeah, take this with a grain of salt, but it's spread amongst Red Sox social media circles that his sister, who travels with him city to city, has been in the Boston area scouting real estate.
Ooh.
There is speculation it could come before the winter meetings, so we could be on actual like hardcore Soto watch here over the next week. If he doesn't sign in the next week, then it was all for naught, and we'll feel like idiots. But allegedly, his sister may be looking at some real estate in Boston. So it's not from like a big time source. It's kind of from like a grassroots Boston subsection of online. So we'll see if it's true or not.
Well, last year we remember as Shohei Ohtani's plane was being tracked down to see if he was going to Hawaii to pick up his girlfriend and then go to Toronto.
I love the plane tracking.
So now we're in real estate tracking for Juan Soto. And as you mentioned, John Morosi did come out yesterday mentioning that according to sources, Soto will make his decision within the next 10 days. So now we're down to 9 days. That Juan Soto should be making his decision on where he will go.
I think Red Sox's best case scenario, right? Because he doesn't enter the NL East.
Yes.
He's not joining a super team.
Yeah.
It's fine. You know, like I think baseball is good when the Red Sox are good. I think Fenway Park and the Red Sox are actually good for baseball.
That's a good point.
So like if Juan Soto goes to Boston, I hate Boston a lot because they've had like 13 titles in my lifetime or something, maybe even more because I'm old now.
You're not old,
but yeah, I think Boston's like fine. If he goes to Boston, that's probably good for the game.
Yeah, and to your point, it would be good to first of all, I think spread the love a little bit. Like we can't have
balances,
all. Yeah, we need to balance out the league.
Team.
We can't have all the big names going to the same clubs and now the same markets. You know, you've got LA, you've got New York. Okay, we've got Philly. Let's spread the love and add some more because it does also feel like, I know we talked about it before, there is a growing gap between the top of the league and the bottom of the league. So I think if you can get some more teams in the middle that are able to like continue the competition around the league, because it's not rules that we want changed to change the competition of the league. We want the teams to just be better. But some other changes that did happen right before the show, we got the news that the Red Sox did make a move. Aroldis Chapman signing a 1-year, $10.75 million deal with the Red Sox. Jeff Passan shared that. I know this morning I had read that the Red Sox were making progress on talks with him, and like 20 minutes before our show started, that progress landed in and led to a final deal. So the Red Sox are also out there making some moves.
Imagine that took Aroldis very long to accept that deal. Jeez.
His 5th team since 2022.
Yeah, that's usually a sign I'm good. If you've been with 5 teams in like 3 years, should probably tell you something.
Bad.
I mean, you can make the case that you're good enough to be traded to a competitor, but like you're also bad enough to be given up on. So
Chapman got a 3-year extension with the Yankees back in 2020. He made about $16 million per year, 3 for 48. This past year, he signed a 1-year. Actually, you know what? I lied. 2 years ago, he signed a 1-year deal with the Royals for 3. Last year, he signed a 1-year, $10 million deal with the Pirates. So it's effectively the same exact amount of money for Chapman.
Good for him.
Last year or this year that he got last year. Last year, he threw 61 2/3 innings, 3.8 ERA, a 1.3 WHIP, 98 strikeouts in 61 innings. It's kind of the same. We know what Aroldis Chapman has become at this point, right? He still throws ridiculously hard, strikes out a lot of guys. Command issues are there at times, 39 walks and 61 innings pitched. He also gave up 44 hits, which is actually a career high for him in terms of hits allowed, at least through 2011. It's a guy who continues to, be a steady, serviceable piece in the bullpen. I'm not so sure that I know because there was conversation that the Phillies were interested in potentially, linked to Aroldis Chapman.
No, I'm good.
I'm not so sure they're going to spend $10 million on any reliever this offseason, with the exception of perhaps Jeff Hoffman. But I don't think that they do that either. So I think when you see 10 plus, almost $11 million, to me, it prices the Phillies out of bullpen consideration a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And then maybe guys, that's why the conversation becomes maybe a Pete Fairbanks does make sense because he's only making 3 and some change this season. And so when I said I wasn't super interested, it wasn't because I don't like Pete Fairbanks. Even with a down year, his stuff is good. I think a team's going to end up overpaying for a Pete Fairbanks in terms of like the prospect return that they send to Tampa. And I think that if you end up moving too many players in return, then, you're balancing, is a trade better? Is a monetary value better? Like, do you want to go and spend $10 million and not have to give up prospects? Or do you want to give up these prospects?
Right.
And
depends what the prospects are.
And that's where the conversation kind of comes in. And that to me is why I'm a little more tepid on Fairbanks than I think we should be, considering the stuff is still there, even in a down year.
Yeah. Well, it is very interesting because you don't want to overpay, and you definitely want to be mindful of not only financially, but if you're making any trades, who's involved in that trade. And so I feel like it's a great time that we prepare to pause before we bring in our buddy Herb Lawrence. I know Philly sports fan 23, Matty Rice, Casper, Luke McDowell, who's a White Sox, a CHGO White Sox fan that's here supporting our buddy Herb. You guys are already proposing some trades of your own, which I love because we're also going to do, this is our time to pretend we're the Phillies front office and we're connecting with the White Sox front office, making plans for which trades make most sense. So we're going to get all the trade. Yeah, we're going to get a trade going on this show.
Listen,
that makes sense.
I would trust Herb to make all the White Sox trades way more than I would trust Chris Getz.
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's do it.
So
Chris Getz is really bad.
But yeah, not great.
So it's time to free Herb. But first, let's pause. Let's talk to you about some of our friends here at PHLY before we bring in our cousins over at CHGO, and that's our friends over at TrueMark Financial, because you want to make sure you're preparing for your future. With TrueMark Financial Credit Union, they give you better rates, lower fees. They have tons of benefits around their rewards card that you can make sure every time you swipe and use your card, you're getting rewards points. They also have Savvy Money, which allows you to keep up to date on your credit score, and tons of benefits for you. so that you can be a shareholder in knowing where your money is, continuing to follow how your money is being saved, accessing your accounts anywhere with their mobile accounts that you can set up to be able to make transactions and pay bills from anywhere, anytime. But also, it's not just about you guys, it's also about your little ones. Because with TrueMark Financial Credit Union, they have the Greenlight app, which is changing the game for kids and teens to allow them to learn how to earn, how to save, how to budget, how to spend wisely. And with the Greenlight accounts, your kids get a chance to get a hands-on experience to set up savings goals, track their spending, and even get an allowance, all right there on the app. And as a member of TrueMark Financial, it's all for free. So you get a chance to essentially give them the ultimate playbook for how to learn real-world skills and teaching financial responsibility. You get the peace of mind, but also you get the awareness of being able to keep up to date with what's going on. You can actually track how your kids and teens are doing that with the Greenlight accounts that you have set up for them. It's like coaching your kid through their very own financial game. And again, all for free as a TrueMark Financial Credit Union member. So 'tis the season to start thinking about great gifts for your family and for your loved ones. And why not gift the little ones in your life a chance to be financially responsible? So if you are interested this holiday season in introducing your kids and teens to the Greenlight account, get signed up today at truemark.com/greenlight for more information.
And let me tell you about the spot where everyone gets engaged. It's where Philly gets engaged. It's Golden Nugget Jewelers. They've been on the corner of 8th and Chestnut for a long time. And everybody knows Golden Nugget Jewelers because this is exactly that. It's where Philly gets engaged. The Phillies missed their opportunity at a ring this year, but hopefully the Eagles are hunting one down. But if you're looking for the ring for that special someone in your life, you should head to Golden Nugget Jewelers. It's family owned and operated since the late 80s. And even if it's not an engagement ring or a birth ring or a wedding ring, it's the holidays. And guess what? A ring, jewelry, earrings, it all works all the time. So stop by to Golden Nugget Jewelers. You can receive a final cleaning and written appraisal with every engagement ring proposal down there. And not just wedding jewelry. They have watches, diamond necklaces, diamond bracelets, earrings, and more. And you deserve an expert and the best price in Golden Nugget Jewelers, where Philly gets engaged. Head over to goldennuggetjewelers.com to learn more.
All right. Well, I love the fact that there's so much chatter going on in the comments from everyone, whether you're a Phillies fan or you're a White Sox fan. First off, you're a White Sox fan. God bless you.
That's tough.
That's really tough. I know Luke right now in the chat is single-handedly like letting everybody know the difficulties of being a White Sox fan.
Let me say this before Herb comes on. Like, watching their pain this past year makes me appreciate what we have in Philadelphia so much more. Like, yeah, we didn't win a World Series, but damn, at least we got good ownership.
Yeah, exactly. So while we prepare for Herb to be able to join us, we have talked so much extensively around Garrett Crochet, Luis Robert Jr., honestly going back to the trade deadline. And nothing has really changed. We're still talking about them. We're still waiting. And we've heard lots of reports that have come out around possible landing spots, who's a favorite, what the White Sox are looking for, what the Phillies are looking for, what both teams are open to. So I do feel like it's a great opportunity for us to be able to just share our thoughts on it. But I know also in the chat, as you guys are dropping your trade thoughts, just want to remind you, you still have time while we're paused right now. Just a quick reminder, you still have time to take advantage of our Cyber Monday deal to become a diehard, because we have these types of conversations in our Discord. We have these types of conversations all the time here at PHLY, and you can be a part of it by checking out our diehard membership deal up to $36. All right. We've been saying it many, many times as every opportunity we get to talk about the White Sox. Someone in the chat is always saying #free Herb. He's free. He's back. Herb Lauren, CHGO White Sox host that does a tremendous job at our cousin station out at CHGO. Herb, appreciate having you on because it's time to get right into solving the problem. Clearly, the Phillies and White Sox needed us. They needed our help. They had to call in the ringers. The Avengers are united. We're back together. The crew is together to figure out how we can best come to a deal for Garrett Crochet and what makes sense for the White Sox, I should say. So first things first, how are you? How are things going out with the White Sox? There's a lot of chatter. What's going on your end?
Firstly, thank you for having me on again. It's really appreciated. I was on like in January, and I think you guys were taken aback by how bad I thought the White Sox were going to be. And I don't think even I at the time in January thought it was going to be this bad. 121 losses bad, but we're kind of used to it in Chicago. I don't know if you saw what the Bears did. This is us. Like this is our type of life. I think we're paying for the Michael Jordans, the Frank Thomases of the 90s that we grew up with. So yeah, I'm doing fine. I mean, this is just a normal, regular, everyday off season because, as you guys said, we have a bad owner, and so when you have a bad ownership, you're going to have bad results.
Yeah. So Herb, what's the state of the average White Sox fan right now? Is it like you can't kill what's already dead type of mentality? Is it just down and you've accepted it, or is there hope that maybe ownership does move on and sell, and is that kind of like the light at the end of the tunnel?
Well, White Sox fans know that Jerry Reinsdorf, and he said it on record, that he's not going to sell the team until he passes away. So it puts White Sox fans in a tricky box of, we don't want the man to die, but also we don't want the man to be the owner of the White Sox anymore. So the White Sox fans are pretty much resigned to the fact that they're going to be this miserable for a while now, because this rebuild, I've said on our air that it might take 10 plus years to just actually get back to somewhere of some type of semblance of competing in the AL Central, because now the AL Central is kind of good, weirdly enough. And so they got a bottom of the barrel roster. And the difference between what they did in 2017 when they did a rebuild with Chris Sale and Jose Quintana and Adam Eaton getting traded out, they don't have those type of talents except for Garrett Crochet. Luis Robert fell off the table this past year, so his value as far as a trade, getting us somebody back, is off the table right now. So it's going to take some time. And then they've pretty much revamped the whole system of how we do research and development. Finally having an analytical department that is kind of rivals some of the teams in our division, not like the Dodgers or the Rays or anything like that, but something more than just 5 people in a building. But yeah, White Sox fans, I think, are resigned that we're going to be bad and we're not going anywhere for the most part. Some of the White Sox fans have fallen to apathy, which is the worst part you can be in, where you're just not watching games. Like, there was fans that were season ticket holders that would just watch our show and just would tune in just to see what we're saying about the team and not want to give Jerry any money at the ballpark or watch the broadcast at all either.
Oof. Yikes, that's bad. Well, I know Jerry's 88 years old, but you don't have to wait until you pass away, Jerry. You can just listen to us because we have the ideas for you on how you can better the White Sox. Listen, in the chat, you're getting lots of love right now, Herb. Spiral Out said the return of a king. You're getting some digital chants going basically in your favor, but there's also been a lot of trades that have been proposed in the chat for Luis Robert Jr., but more importantly for Garrett Crochet. I think that's the bigger ticket item that a lot of Phillies fans have been wanting, obviously, to bring in a Garrett Crochet. So let's get right into it because we've heard all the discussions. The Red Sox, the who else was it that was obviously the Phillies, but there's been the Orioles were another team that were linked to Garrett Crochet as a favorite for him. But Garrett Crochet is someone that is a huge name on the trade market. And I know one of the trades that were thrown out there was Alec Bohm and Justin Crawford for Garrett Crochet. It was mentioned that Andrew Painter was requested by the White Sox, but the Phillies do not want to move on from Andrew Painter. He is our untouchable prospect. He's our top prospect. He's not going anywhere. So for Garrett Crochet, what do you think realistically the White Sox would need in return? Because it does feel like, and I just heard reports about Alec Bohm's value is not as high as we think here in Philly. You know, we have expectations of him being a big ticket item, but according to Ken Rosenthal and others around the league, his second half of the season has people a little bit concerned on a trade for him. What do you think it would take if Alec Bohm is included or whatever that trade may look like for a deal to happen with Garrett Crochet?
The only problem with Alec Bohm, I think he's a decent player. Good glove at third, is all right at third, let's say that. And the bat was good to make him an all-star team this year. So homegrown talent, that's awesome that they want to trade him because they can see that the team needs more and needs better. But the only problem with the White Sox, trading him to the White Sox, he is 28. He's got 2 years left on his deal himself. Unless the White Sox are immediately shipping Alex Bohm, I don't know why they would take him in a deal for Garrett Crochet, because he really wouldn't have any value here with the White Sox, because I said this rebuild's going to be forever. And that's what the White Sox are going to be looking for, people who are, Major League ready and or really far off but highly thought of. So Alec Bohm wouldn't fit in there. Now, you can start with that Justin Crawford, but I would, as a White Sox fan, seeing that their pitchers out there, starting pitchers, getting ridiculous amount of money on the free agent market, the starting pitching market has gone up. Because if you see people out there like Frankie Montas getting the deal he got from the Mets, you're like, okay, that's good. I guess he's good for that. But then you see, I forgot the name of the guy who went to the Cubs yesterday, but it was 14. Matthew Boyd.
Yeah,
Matthew Boyd, $14.5 million per year for 2 years. Like, he's 34 years old. Like, if that's the market, Garrett Crochet's market, who's going to be making probably $3 million in arbitration this year and like $7 or $8 million the year after that, has gone way the heck up. And so the White Sox will be asking for top prospects. Now, they don't want starting pitcher focus return. They want position player focus return. So we need to go to the top of the market. And I know this is going to hurt Philly fans. Aiden Miller is the guy that the White Sox would want. Like, that is the number one name that they would want coming back, and others. Like, it's Aiden Miller, it's the Kaba kid, it's the Burkholder, it's a lot of people. Like, if you start with Aiden Miller, you only had to add like one more guy. You could start with you can get the 8th guy in there. And I know my guy Luke wants another player to be included into the trade, but like, they're not going to be playing around with little players. They're going to be going for the top of your farm system. I know the Phillies farm system's pretty good, chock full of top 100 prospects, but that's what they're going to be asking for. Now, any other general manager or baseball ops guy, you would say they're not going to get away a top 25 prospect. But I think Dave Dombrowski, he's a gambler. And I know your owner wants to win. So he sees the LA Dodgers doing what they're doing over there. He's got the pain that's happening that they got eliminated by the Metropolitans and them trying to buy the whole market and get into the Soto atmosphere. I'm thinking that, yeah, it's going to be a tough pill to swallow, but I think Aiden Miller would have to be part of the deal for any White Sox fan to appreciate that trade coming back.
Well, Herb, I think you'll be, I guess, quasi-happy to know. Yesterday we had our insider Jim Salisbury on, who knows the Phillies as well as anyone, and I asked him who the Phillies untouchables are, and I was expecting Aiden Miller and Andrew Painter to be the answers, and he only said Andrew Painter. So, not saying that means much, but I think for the right person, they would listen to anything. What's the story locally on the timeline of this? Is this potentially something that goes down by the end of the winter meetings from, either CHGO people or other people in Chicago? What's the time frame on this, do you think?
Well, I think that like last year where the Shohei Ohtani sweepstakes had to settle down for actual free agent moves to start.
Yeah.
For that trade market, I think you're looking at the Roki Sasaki deal. Even though that's a very small deal, it's going to be a lot of teams involved in there. And if a team misses on Roki Sasaki, they can look to Garrett Crochet and say, that's still the same price point. Yes. We have to give up that you'll be paying Roki Sasaki for the next 2 years. I know Roki will sign for a longer-term deal, but so I think whatever team loses out on that will be big into the Garrett Crochet market. So I'm thinking before January 15th and the Roki Sasaki market to be finalized. And I think we won't be going into March like we did last year with Dylan Cease. So hopefully the White Sox can get that done and get that settled so they can get to the rest of their offseason and get a couple more other prospects out here.
Interesting. My last thing on Garrett Crochet for me, Herb, because I did want to give some love. I asked everyone in the chat to propose their trade options, and yes, they are doing exactly that. Philly Sports Fan 23 said Crawford, Starlin Caba, Eduardo Tait, and Mick Abel. So you'd get 4 prospects for Garrett Crochet. That would give you a variety of positional players, and Mick Abel, who's a pitcher. Steven Garrison's mentioning Justin Crawford and Caba plus Bohm. He's still including Bohm in that trade, which I think, to your point, realistically, it actually doesn't. You don't even need to include Bohm in a trade for Crochet. Nope. Just give some prospects. Your buddy Luke is saying to add in Gabriel Rincones Jr., who also has been very impressive. And I agree with you, Luke. He's looked good. Andrew Tiger is saying Aiden, Johan Rojas and Starlin Caba for Garrett Crochet. And then Maddie Rice is saying Aiden Miller and one more, or to flip Justin Crawford and Starlin Caba. So some interesting names that have been thrown out there, but to your point, it feels like 3 or 4 prospects should be enough. If it's Aiden Miller, you don't even need to give that many. It'd be 1 or 2. Which of those deals are you taking? Who are you including in that deal? There are a lot of names I just threw at you, Herb, so hopefully you caught all those. But what a Johan Rojas, Gabriel Rincones, Eduardo Tait, any of those positional players, you've got catcher, you've got center fielder, you've got a variety of positions there. Any of those that really jump off the page at you?
The one that said Miller and Caba, I would hit the button already. The button has been smashed. And I know Phillies fans want to get Garrett Crochet for what they believe is a fair price. But I like to say this to my fans who are doing trade proposals for the White Sox. It's got to hurt a little bit. The trade's got to hurt. Sure. Like, so especially you get on top of the market pitcher like Garrett Crochet. So if you're just sending me a player that you don't want, like in Alec Bohm, that doesn't hurt the Phillies. That doesn't have any pain towards it. You send Aiden Miller, that has pain toward it. The Phillies, rightfully so, should keep Andrew Painter because they believe that he's their future. He's still young as heck, just coming off the Tommy John. He'll be fine. And if they want to keep him, cool. And like I said, the White Sox are not focused on getting pitchers in return for Garrett Crochet. They'll accept them if they're good. And if the Phillies were to let him into the trade at the deadline, I'm sure the White Sox would have traded Garrett Crochet for Andrew Painter and assorted people. But it has to hurt a little bit. You have to have a little pain on your side. You got to give us something. You guys got everything else. I mean, the Eagles are doing well. Phillies are in the LCS. Come on now. You got to have a little thing. Give us something.
It could hurt a little bit depending on who they place Alec Bohm with. Everybody's kind of quick to get rid of him. He is a very good player. But Herb, on the show the other day, I know you guys ranked other landing spots outside of Philadelphia that maybe Crochet makes sense for. What was the consensus among you guys of if Tristan Casas gets involved with the Red Sox? I know the Orioles Renee mentioned as well. Where did you guys settle on most likely destinations?
Well, we had on Elijah Evans from Just Baseball and Future Sox Baseball, and he had a couple proposed trades. And the trades for the Cubs, which were White Sox fans are already, resistant on because our last trade that we made with them, it was a Craig Kimbrell for Nick Madrigal and another player. So it didn't work out for either team. So we're always resistant to trading with the Cubs, but they got a big time prospect named Owen Casey that would fit into the White Sox system and a couple other young players included into the trade. And they can't, have Owen Casey on the major league team because they have all the outfielders in the world. They're paid a lot of money, and so they got to either trade those guys, which they're not going to be able to trade Cody Bellinger's almost $30 million contract. Ian Happ maybe could trade it, say, as Suzuki or Pete Crow Armstrong. They have a full outfield out there. So we're like, this guy's at the top of your rotation. Instead of signing guys like you signed yesterday in Matthew Boyd, who's a left-hander, and 34, you can sign a 26-year-old who's got much top of the rotation stuff, but the Cubs are probably not wanting to do that deal. Also, we had the Boston Red Sox, as you guys said. If they put in Tristan Casas and Wilyer Abreu and some other young players, we're all about it. But also, those players have already played in the major leagues. Like I said, this is going to be a long time. To have only like 4 or 5 years left in your deal, good, but not ideal for the White Sox. And then also the Dodgers. They have Elijah put in
the
Dalton Rushing.
Dodgers. Always the Dodgers are.
Yeah, he put Dalton Rushing in the deal, and I was like, where do I sign? I mean, Dalton Rushing is going to be in the lineup. I don't care where he plays. Catcher, first base, outfield, in the lineup. And so those are the type of deals I would like. That's why I'm looking for Aiden Miller. I think, and you guys know more than me, that guy's going to be a stud. I don't know if he stays at shortstop.
He is.
But he's going to be on the field in the lineup. Yeah. So that's what I want him.
Yeah, he's got the ability to play shortstop, third base. He's got a great power bat. Listen, what I do want to clarify, though, as we're coming up with these deals and hypotheticals, do not work with the Dodgers. Do not make deals with, even the Red Sox are getting too much as is. So, like the proposed trade for Tristan Casas, Braden Montgomery, other names that the Red Sox have in terms of prospects, no deal. They're doing enough. Keep it in-house. Keep it with the family here at PHLY, CHGO. Keep it here. But I do also want to ask about Luis Robert Jr. because he's a very interesting case this offseason. Because as you mentioned, the injuries he had this season, the regression statistically, and just the concerns that people have for, you don't really know what you're going to get from him. Is he going to be able to stay healthy? If so, you're going to go great center fielder. If not, you're paying a lot of money for a guy that's still young, but doesn't, if he's not out there, it's not worth the deal. So it does seem like the White Sox are, and I've heard rumors they actually want to move on from him before Crochet is moved. Where are things standing currently with Luis Robert Jr. and what do you see as the future for him in terms of possible options of where he would go outside of Chicago?
Well, GM Chris Getz won't move off his price for Garrett Crochet. It's going to be high, and it's going to be whoever gets to his level is going to get the deal. Luis Robert Jr., since he's had such a bad year this past year and often injured, he can be negotiated for. He can be like leveled down. You might get a superstar player because that's the talent he has. But he has only shown that since 2023. That's the only year really you saw everything come together. He played all the games mostly. He showed that he can lay off the outside slider. He can hit for power, hit for speed, steal bases, all this stuff. And as a Gold Glove center fielder, you want him. I don't think it'll take as much as people think it will take. So I'm not a fan of putting into a deal with Garrett Crochet because I think you get less return for both of the people. But if separately you want a deal for Luis Robert, it won't take, I don't think, any of the top 5 prospects of the Phillies roster. And you can get like multiple people in like the 6 through 10 ranked people in the Phillies top 30 to get Luis Robert Jr. because he's got, I think, a $15 million contract this year and then two $20 million contracts for the next 2 years. So relatively, if he is Luis Robert Jr., he's going to be a stud for some team at a market value. And he's only, I think, 26, 27 years old. So it won't take that much, but it needs a team and an organization with a high, good prospect, a rich organization like the Phillies to bring it to the table, or the Orioles, or the Dodgers. Sorry, guys.
Not the Dodgers.
The Dodgers! Herb, last one from me. I saw this headline yesterday and read up a little bit about it, and I want your take on it. The MLB and Rob Manfred says the golden at bat is gaining steam amongst owners, expected to be heavily discussed next week at the winter meetings. Who the hell wants this?
Greedy owners who are, I don't know who chose this. Like, if you do the golden at bat as opposed to doing the extra inning thing, maybe I'm in. Because you're not playing real baseball in extra innings already.
Sure.
So do something dumb and different then when you want the golden at bat. But I don't want it in the bottom of the ninth. I don't want it when baseball is supposed to be played. Stop gimmicking up baseball. If people want to watch baseball, let them watch baseball. Stop trying to cater to people who have already told you baseball's not my jam. I'm good. Just market to the people that are in your building. Market to the people who already love your sport. If you keep on watering down the sport, I think you're going to lose some of those people who are on the fringe right now watching baseball, White Sox fans, and they're never going to come back. And I get the point. You want some high-level excitement at the end of the game, but also that's not baseball. Baseball is played in a pure fashion, and bastardizing the game as it is already kind of shameful, and if you keep on going further down the road, I don't think you'll stop. You'll be always looking for the entertainment value instead of the pure baseball that's going on in front of you.
Yeah, it's not the Savannah Bananas. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's a great point. I mean, there's already been so many rules to try to speed up the game and just to change the game in general. So to have a rule where a team with the golden at-bats can choose one at-bat in every game where the best hitter, regardless of where they are in the lineup, gets a chance to bat, It reminds me of the Moneyball in the 3-point shootout. Like, this is not something you do in a regular season. It's something you do in an all-star type of a game, or, like you said, a Savannah Bananas, like one of those for fun types of things. It's not something that should be in the regular season. So in this, I know they said it's just in the conversation stage, but to me, there's no conversation.
That's usually a seed they plant just to test the waters a little bit.
Yeah, they want to see what public reaction is to it, and once it is unanimously no, they're gonna poo-poo it and never do it.
Hopefully,
poo-poo it and never do it. That's what we feel about the Golden at Bat. There it is. I could not agree with you both more. I think it's just weird. Let's stop. Like, as you mentioned, stop tinkering with the game so much. You're getting away from what makes baseball great. We don't need to have, when it's a situation and now you can bring in a ringer for an at-bat. No, just let the game continue the way it is. Whoever's up at bat is whoever's up at bat and next in the lineup, period. But Herb, it was great to free you for a moment to get you to come hang with us here at PHLY and to share your thoughts on the White Sox options, trades, what the White Sox are looking for, because I think it gives us all a better picture. And hopefully we helped you guys out too with getting a better sense of who we can provide in a trade. So Jerry, give us a call because we've got the deal figured out for you. And Herb, keep up the fantastic work that you do over at CHGO with the White Sox. Appreciate you, buddy.
Thank you very much. I know I said I don't want Alec Bohm because of the contract situation, but I'll take Nicholas Castellanos. I've loved that man for a long, long time. Me, just Herb Lawrence, not anybody else is a White Sox. Yeah. I love Nicholas Castellanos. He is my favorite player probably in the league.
Really?
Wow.
He's just awesome.
Wow, that's wild. I feel like for Nick, with the Scooby-Doo talking to him and like all the vibes that he brings, the unbuttoned, uniform all the time, showing the chain, the swag, I do feel like he'd be entertaining with the White Sox. I'll leave it at that. It'd be an interesting mix.
Indeed.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. And for all of the White Sox fans that also tuned in to join Herb and support him, Maddie, Rice, and Luke, appreciate you. And Herb, appreciate all that you do, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
See you, Herb.
See ya. So the Golden at Bat is poo-poo. Don't want to do it. Not great, Rob Manfred. If you're looking for the consensus vote of what the public thinks, we will speak on behalf of the public and say,
yeah, terrible.
No.
And down on strikes goes Shohei Ohtani in the bottom of the ninth, and now up to bat is Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing?
That would be so
what
weird.
Are we doing?
That'd be so weird.
It's baseball.
Because you would just send your best hitter, like especially if they hit in the ninth inning, and like if their part in the order came up, you'd be like, yeah, go hit again.
That's so weird. It's just unnecessary. It's so There's no reason to tinker with any more rules. There's
Baseball's
already been
great.
You
sped it up, and that's all I really asked for.
I also think that because there's been so many changes in the last couple of seasons, like let those changes marinate, let it rock, let us keep adjusting to it before you go throwing in a whole new curveball like this one. I'm not for it. But hopefully you guys had a good idea of some options for the Phillies when it comes to a Garrett Crochet move, and even just to have a better sense of Luis Robert and the Golden at Bat we don't need. So as we wrap up the show, though, as we've done every day recently here on our off-season edition of PHLY Phillies, we want to get into our random Phillies trivia. Even if you're a White Sox fan, hang with us. I know, Luke, you're also a Flyers fan, which I love. But hang with us. Maybe you can help us out here because although the Golden at Bat may be the worst rule possible, the random Philly is just as torturous. Tyler, Zully.
Oh, come on. It's not nearly that bad.
Okay. It's not as bad, but it's tricky.
I forgot about Ian Kennedy's existence yesterday until you reminded me of him.
Yeah, yesterday was Ian Kennedy, and we did not get that one, but hopefully today we'll get this one.
You know how some guys just like leave your brain just like,
yeah.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that player existed.
And that's the people that Tyler,
that too.
That's who you go after. Tyler intentionally goes after people you forget existed, especially forgetting that they played with the Phillies. So, torturous Tyler, who do we have? What's the silhouette? Oh.
Okay.
It's got little ears.
It says outfielder to me. Went 1-10 in his rookie season is the first hint.
That's not 1 for 10. That's 1 and 10.
It is 1 and 10, correct.
Okay, well, that's not great.
Well, my outfielder vibes are still alive in his rookie season, so he would have only been called up for
No, your outfielder
No,
vibes
it's
can't
not
be
an
allowed.
outfielder, it's a
pitcher
pitcher.
record.
I'm
Yeah,
just saying,
he went
what?
one-
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
starting, so it's
No,
a starting
that's
pitcher.
what Renee clarified was,
Okay.
did he go 1-4-10 or 1-10? He went 1-10
Okay, one
as
and
a
10.
pitcher.
So
All right.
he's a starting pitcher.
He could be.
Or a mop-up duty pitcher of record.
That's a lot of.
Yeah, I mean,
a
there was a lot
lot
of
of-
bad Phillies teams. over
That's
the
true.
years.
That's also very true. That's also very true.
1-10 in his rookie season.
And remember, this is going back to 2000. So was this somebody that was closer to the 2000s mark, or was he a little bit more recent?
I don't think he's going to
I mean,
answer
he
you.
pitched-
I've always
pitched
just liked to
sometime
ask
in the
questions.
2000s, yeah.
I just like
1
to
in
ask questions
10.
and see if people bite on any of
We've
them.
already used Brandon Duckworth. I don't think Kyle Kendrick started out well.
Who had a bad rookie? And this does not mean he's with the Phillies in his rookie season.
He might have been. He might not have been.
Oh no. Well, this is okay. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. Not sure off this clue.
1-10. Yeah,
He
I
looks
really
kind
don't
of
know.
like he's got a roundish head, little ears.
By the way, Renee, I'm just letting you know, Mike Soroka lost 10 games this year. He started 9.
Oh my gosh.
So it couldn't, it could be a starter, but it might
Oh,
not be.
brother. It's not a starter.
But it might be.
All right.
All right,
On to
hit
the
me
next
with-
clue.
I don't even have a random guess yet.
And while we're doing this, if you are joining us on our TV platforms to watch PHLY Phillies, head on over to allphly.com to help us figure out the random Philly of the day as we wrap up our Tuesday edition of the show. We appreciate you guys. And hopefully you can come help us guess at allphly.com. All right. Guess number
Nothing?
2
You just
for...
want the hint?
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
even have
hit number 2, please.
a decent guess right now. Signed 1-year deal in 2013, traded at deadline. Oh, man.
So again, this is not necessarily with the Phillies.
No, this one,
Okay.
he signed a 1-year deal with the Phillies that year.
Okay.
Correct.
So
And was traded at the
2013.
deadline.
Wow. Okay. Where
Wasn't
were we at
AJ
in
Burnett? Because
2013?
he signed like a 2 or 3 year deal.
Who
Who were the other like over the hill pitchers they signed back then?
A lot of them, Jamie.
Yeah, I
There was a
know.
lot of them. Believe me, if
Okay.
you wanted to dive down the rabbit hole, there was some dreck over that time period. Like 13 to 18, there's dudes that threw like 7 starts that were just dreadful.
Yeah, and there was, they would start like 14 guys a year.
Yeah, well, so for example,
Yeah.
there was one guy I was going to use because I'm like, yeah, he pitched a full year. No, he pitched 7 games.
Yeah, it was a bunch of those.
Yeah, I literally Googled last night Chad Billingsley because I thought he pitched here for an entire year. He pitched 7 games. I'm not gonna use him. He was only here for 7 games.
Jeez, 13.
And was traded.
I guess Jeremy Hellickson the other day. Jeremy Hellickson.
It's not a Tyler.
It is not Jeremy Hellickson.
Tyler Cloyd. I don't know who was traded at the deadline.
It
so
is
just to
not
clarify,
Tyler
I'm going
Cloyd.
strictly off of
No, it was not Tyler Cloyd. It was not Jeremy Hellickson.
2013. Who was around in 2013?
So hit number 3.
Oh man, I guess so. Oh, finished 4th in the AL Cy Young voting in 2007.
This is where my dad got it yesterday, by the way.
Oh, you
Oh,
gave him this
boy.
one. Okay.
We've got some guesses in the chat.
I think
Steven
K-Red's
Garrison's-
just guessing David Herndon every day now.
and Stephen Garrison
Delman
saying
Young, no.
Delman Young, and I know also thank
was
you
a
for the
Red Sox
congrats for the
outfielder.
Eagles win. We appreciate that. The Eagles win was much more important than our random Philly of the day being correct.
Finished 4th in Cy Young
Chad
in AL Cy
Durbin.
Young in 07.
Ooh, I do not remember
So I will
the
tell
Cy
you
Young
this.
voting in 07.
I think the
that
4th hit
clearly.
is going to give this dead away. Like
So
if you
should we
don't,
go-
away.
should we
if
go
you don't
to
give
it?
it up on the 4th hit, if you don't get it on the 4th hit, you're not getting it.
4th in Cy
Like-
Young.
Roberto Hernandez, Cliff Lee.
Sorry, K-Red, my bad.
Yeah, you are definitely got a couple of Roberto
Finished.
Hernandez. You know, I'm gonna trust the chat because Maddie Rice and Steven Garrison are both saying Roberto Hernandez. So that's gonna be my hint number 3 guess.
It is indeed Roberto Hernandez.
What? And the final was
finished
played
4th
under
in
a
Cy-
fake name from 2006 to
Yeah,
2011.
so if you guys
Shout out.
remember the history of Roberto
Wow.
Hernandez, he began his Major League Baseball career as the player formerly known as Fausto Carmona. and was charged with identity fraud. And,
weird.
Yeah, so he came to the United States and said he was like 21 years old when in fact he was actually 25 years old. And yeah, he played under a fake name for the first 6 years of his career.
Another guy just gone.
Yeah.
Like Kaiser Sose in my brain.
Shout
and he finished
out.
4th in the Cy Young in 07.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I got to look up that 2000.
What a wild career when you really think about it, from the fake name to the Cy Young voting to the 1-in-10 start, like just crazy. But I do want to give shout out to those in the chat that did get it, because Maddie Rice, Steven Garrison, Casper, you guys also were thinking Roberto. Shout out to you in the chat. Coming through.
Jimmy Rollins won NL MVP. AL Cy Young went CC Sabathia, Josh Beckett, John Lackey, Roberto Hernandez, Eric Bedard, Roy Halladay, Johan Santana, Justin Verlander.
Wow.
Roberto Hernandez. Jeez. His ERA plus that year was 148. He won 70% of his games. His WAR was a 6.2 that year. Damn.
Yeah, he had an excellent year. He ended up finishing 28 games under 500 and posting a 4.6 ERA throughout his career.
Through 215 innings.
Yeah, he had an excellent season that year.
Wow. That was a good one, Tyler.
Yeah, so
he left my mind.
He missed much of the 2012 season because of the visa issue, and then he was suspended by Major League Baseball for identity fraud. He returned to the league in 2013 with the Rays, and I apologize. It was a 2014 deal. He pitched in 2014. He signed in 2013.
Gotcha. The NL that year, Jake Peavy wins it. Brandon Webb with the Diamondbacks in 2nd. Brad Penny with the Dodgers 3rd. Aaron Harang, Philly legend, 4th that year. So 2 former Phillies each finished 4th in Cy Young voting that year. Carlos Zambrano, I loved him. And then Cole Hamels.
Carlos Zambrano could mash, dude.
Yeah. Wow. And then John Smoltz 6, Jose Valverde, and Jeff Francis. Was Jeff Francis local, or wasn't he like an East Coast? Like, just as I go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, you're definitely. It's fine because you guys, much like Casper was mentioning, the love for random baseball players. Gotta love the random baseball players.
That's right.
That really take you down that rabbit hole of like, as you're doing right now.
Roberto Hernandez. Jeez.
Oh, man.
I forgot Fausto Carmona. What a bust out, cuz.
Would you have traded Aiden Miller for 07 Roberto Hernandez?
Maybe.
Do I get more of that or just the 1 year?
Is it just, does he just pitch that 107?
Hernandez. I don't think I could have told you he was a Philly. Like, completely just, I like neuralized myself.
Definitely have blacked out a significant time of the Phillies history.
You son of a...
Tyler stumps us again in the torture chamber of random Philly of the day.
You got it right.
I mean, like the chat got it. We got it right through the chat, and we're a collective, so yes, we did get it right technically. But that was another one that just had you like, oh, wow, I forgot. But hopefully you don't forget that we're back live each and every day, 11 a.m. here on PHLY Phillies, as we're bringing you updates from the Phillies, but also the rest of the teams around the league. As we are continuing to watch, will Juan Soto be signed in the next 9 days? Will the Phillies figure out a deal with Garrett Crochet that involves a few prospects, but not all the prospects, and much, much more happening around Major League Baseball. So for Tyler, Jamie, and our fantastic guest, Herb, who joined us today from CHGO White Sox, Herb Lawrence, I'm Renee saying have a terrific Tuesday. We'll see you back here more 11 a.m. sharp tomorrow for more on PHLY Phillies.
We all silly like the mayor.